So we've just had the Azur Lane Japanese servers 1 year anniversary live stream. And first, before anybody says, well, it's the Japanese server anniversary live stream, so why should I care to watch this? Let me say this. There's been quite a bit of information in here that actually applies to people on the English servers and the Chinese servers. Or rather, there's information in here that is also then not even server related. So yeah, it's definitely something that was worth watching and stuff. So let's get into what's been revealed. Now, first we'll start off with some of the server specific things. And the stuff that we already knew was they announced Taiho. And yeah, they revealed what Taiho looks like, even though yesterday they accidentally revealed what Taiho looked like. So no surprises there. And we also got to see her anniversary dress. So again, no surprises there because we accidentally had that leaked to us yesterday. We also got to see the rest of the anniversary dresses and Amazon's anniversary dress. And Amazon looks pretty awesome. Then we got to... I will actually say that my personal favourites were Lusty and South Dakota, as well as Taiho's dress, because Taiho just looks amazing. And I'll actually post those three because I did get grabs of those three. But yeah, I really like them. Then we had some more reveals. So this is where I confess that I forgot to mention that we actually had the wedding skins also announced for Kaga, Takao, Yudachi and Ayanami. So that was a nice bonus. One of which I will come to in a second. But first we had a new ship reveal, which was just a silhouette, and that was for Newcastle. So at some point we will be getting a proper look of what she looks like, possibly in the next live stream or maybe on the Twitter. So yeah, that stuff is going to be for both the Chinese servers and the Japanese servers, and it's either already out on the Japanese servers or it's coming out tomorrow. It's unclear. It says it's coming out on the 14th, but due to the time difference and stuff, it's not sure. I'm not sure whether that's already out now or not, but we just had the live stream end and it revealed it all, and so it could have been maintenance period and things, and the end of maintenance coming up soon. You just don't know. Anyway, let's continue. So the biggest reveal for the Chinese servers and Japanese servers is San Diego SSR is getting a refit. Yeah, this is big news. First refit for an SSR. That's why I stress San Diego as an SSR is getting a refit. So I am number one, is getting the first refit as an SSR. So this is big news. I mean, not only is she in desperate need of a refit anyway, because if you think back to the video I did a couple of days ago, I pointed out the main issues about San Diego, and everybody admits that she's in huge need of love and attention. So they're actually going to address this, and so she's getting a refit, and yes, that's actually happening, and it's huge news, so yay. Yeah, the biggest thing here is that they're going to be refitting SSRs, or they might be starting to refit SSRs. I say might because you know, if they were going to do refits for ships like Hood and Enterprise and Tirpitz, that could end up being game breaking. So, giving a refit to San Diego does balance her out. It gives her a much needed improvement, and it doesn't break the game. But giving a refit to some of the top ships in the game does kind of like make it so that you are at risk of breaking the game. So you have to be very careful how you approach those refits and stuff. Now, obviously people are now saying, well, if she's an SSR and she gets a refit, does that make her a legendary ship? Yeah, we have no idea at this point. It's one of those big open questions. We just don't know. There is scope in the code for legendary ships. There is already a legendary ship in the game, which is Bismarck. But whether Bismarck would ever get implemented into the game as a legendary ship is an open question. I mean, I don't think that Bismarck would ever get implemented into the game as a legendary ship because, well, if you think about it, Tirpitz was an upgraded version of Bismarck, and Tirpitz is basically an SSR. So logically speaking, if Bismarck was put into the game, then Bismarck would also be an SSR. Before people start saying, well, Bismarck was better than Tirpitz because Bismarck, she sank Hood in one shot. Like, yeah, there's a reason why she sank Hood in one shot. Hood was an aged battle cruiser, and, back in the 1920s, they actually identified Hood's weaknesses. They did a few gunnery tests and things, and they said, well, if Hood was hit by a 15-inch shell in a couple of these places, she would have her magazines penetrated and she would blow up. And then, surprising nobody, that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, it was an identified weakness, it was something they were highly aware of, and yeah, any ship with a 15-inch gun could have sank Hood. So that's hardly a good reason for Bismarck becoming a legendary ship over Tirpitz. And then if anybody then tries to say, well, she went up against two battleships and they failed to sink her, there's a very good reason why they failed to sink her. And that's a failure of tactics. Those two battleships, they decided to shell her superstructure. They've explored the wreck and they've said, well, she took an awful lot of hits to her superstructure and she didn't take many hits at all to her hull. And yeah, if you know anything about ships, you will know that if you destroy the superstructure, that is not going to cause the ship to sink. So, yeah, even Hood would have survived if she just had her superstructure shelled into oblivion. So, yeah, again, not a very convincing argument to make Bismarck a legendary ship over Tirpitz, because Tirpitz is a improved version of Bismarck. So, if you were going to make any of those two ships a legendary ship, it would have been Tirpitz and not Bismarck. So, now I've got a lot of ire and people flaming me in the comments over that. Or at least the weirdos are going to be flaming me for that one. Let's continue. I would say San Diego might become a legendary ship because there is scope in the game for legendary ships. However, I'm not entirely convinced that that might happen, because if you consider there is now the Essex class carriers in the game, the Essex class carriers would make a good contender for becoming legendary ships. Because if you think about what the best ships in World War II were, you instantly think of Essex class carriers, you think of the Iowa battleships, and you think of the Yamato class battleships. They were just some of the best ships made in World War II. So, yeah. And yes, I know I'm favouring the large capital ships over other ships. But the point is that if Essex class are not in the game as legendary ships, would San Diego become a legendary ship? I doubt that San Diego would become a legendary ship over the Essex class. So that is why I am hesitant to suggest that San Diego would become a legendary ship with a refit. It's possible. It is always possible. So before people start kind of like looking at this video and then coming back to this video years from now or in several months from now when refit's implemented and saying, oh, you said she wouldn't become a legendary ship, she's a legendary ship, no, you were wrong. Yeah, it's always possible. And yeah, I might be right, I might be wrong. I fully accept this. I just would say, if you think about it logically, I do kind of like say, let's scale back our expectations just a little bit, okay? Let's not quite get so overhyped. I mean, those of us in the Sandy cult, we get totally overhyped on the fact that San Diego's going to get good and things, and she's getting a refit and things, so yeah, you know, all hail the Sandy god, she's gonna really come good. But for everybody else, try and dial down your expectations here. It doesn't automatically mean that legendary ships are coming into the game, because as I said, the legendary ships that I would have expected to come into the game would have been the Essex class, and the fact that they're coming into the game as super rare ships makes you kind of like think otherwise. So yeah, so just a word of caution. Okay, so now that piece of news is out of the way, what else was announced? So, Arkwell is going to become a siren, or at least there's going to be a version of her that is a siren. There's going to also be a UI change, so they're improving the UI in the game. The user interface is getting a reboot and an upgrade and stuff, so that looks interesting. Then we were greeted with this image. And yeah, some people might know what this is. A very small amount of people might know what this is. Or some people who've dug into this will know what this is, and then a lot of people won't. But yeah, it's a flying aircraft carrier, and you're going, oh, flying aircraft carrier, what? Yeah, I'll put you out of your misery. This is a very subtle hint that they're doing a collaboration. People have dug into this, and yeah, they are doing a collaboration. So a very bad way of announcing a collaboration. It's a collaboration for something called Nessica Live. It's a side-scrolling shooting game, Red Sword of Truth for Nessica Live. That's the information from the website. So yeah, basically it's looks like it's something like Taiho shooter or whatever. So that's just what people have looked at the website and gathered and guessed what it could be. So, yeah. Then the next thing we got announced, this is what applies to pretty much everybody. And I don't know how to sum this up, so let's just play the clip.
ここは永遠の愛を誓い合う二人がたどり着く場所。ウェディングプランナーがお二人の結婚式をサポートいたします。アズールレーン結婚 VR。扉の向こうに愛する女性があなたを待っています。
Okay, so yeah. Yeah, so yeah. I don't know how to respond to this. They're basically putting the wedding stuff into virtual reality. So, yeah. I mean, one positive is that all the wedding animations are going to be live 2D by the looks of it. Or at least they're going to be live 2D compatible. But, yeah, the wedding stuff is virtual reality now. Or at least they're going to make it all compatible with virtual reality. So, yeah. Remember telling your friends that being an otaku isn't all bad and it's not as bad as people make it out and it doesn't deserve all that stigma? That it's really not as cringeworthy and yeah, yeah. You can marry your waifu in 3D and virtual reality, and now you get to really make your parents proud of you. So there's that. So yeah. Of course there's going to be a market for it, because there's always a market for it. And yeah, I can see it catching on because, yeah, it's just quite cringeworthy in a way though. It's just I'm the guy with all the anime figures, so I'm kind of like cringing already, you know. It just doesn't help our cause. It really doesn't help our cause, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, at least we get to move on and say, change from saying 2D is better than 3D. We now actually can say 3D is as good as 3D because now we have waifus in 3D. So I guess there is that. Yeah, when people start saying, "Oh, you've got to move on from these anime girls because it's not the same as real life. You won't have them." You can say, "Well, got them in virtual reality." So, I don't know. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna just move on. So, finally, okay. Here's another thing that applies to absolutely everybody. And this one is freaking huge. Absolutely freaking huge. And yeah, this has been worth the wait for everybody who's put up with this video to this point. Let's roll the clip. So yeah, doesn't that look awesome? I know, I think it looks awesome. I'm pretty stoked for this. So I don't know if you caught that in the video, but basically it's Compile Heart. Yeah, Compile Heart are working on this, and if you don't know who Compile Heart, it's the company behind Hyperdimension Neptunia. Yes, they've been working on this since the Hyperdimension Neptunia collaboration. When they did the Hyperdimension Neptunia collaboration, it seems that they decided to also do this, and they somehow kept it quiet ever since. And now they've revealed that they've actually got this game sorted, and it's going to be on PlayStation 4. So yeah, that's a big one. And so yeah, it's not just Compile Heart, it's also the usual suspects. So Idea Factory, and Fairly Stellar and stuff. So it's the basic Hyperdimension Neptunia team coming together and making a new game based on Azur Lane with Manju and Yongshi and Yostar. All three of them are getting together and making this game. It's freaking epic. And yeah, you looked at that and you thought, oh well, that looks kind of like impressive, and how's it going to play? What's it going to be? I mean, not only is that awesome 3D animation that it's again conjures up images of Hyperdimension Neptunia, it does look like it's going to be a single player battle RPG. So again, think Hyperdimension Neptunia but with Azur Lane. So freaking epic. It's, I mean, it's beyond words. It's just awesome. I mean, I'm pretty stoked. I mean, how are you not stoked? I mean, you should be stoked. So, yeah, this is happening. I mean, Azur Lane just keep knocking it out of the park. So, yeah, this is happening. And yeah, it's on PlayStation 4, and yes, it's going to be in Japanese first. But if you know anything about anything, you know that they did bring Hyperdimension Neptunia to the English market, so they translated that, and there's no reason not to believe that they would do that again with this, especially when you consider that Star and Manju had brought Azur Lane to the English market themselves. So, if Azur Lane is in the English market and Hyperdimension Neptunia is in the English market, it stands to reason that they would make this new game, Azur Lane Crosswave, which is the name of the game. It stands to reason they're going to be bringing this to the English market at some point as well. So, as I said, this will affect everybody because, while it's not going to be an in-game thing, it's an out-game thing. And if you got yourself a PS4, at some point you would be able to play this game. And even if you don't have a PS4, it's probably not even going to just be a PS4 exclusive, because Hyperdimension Neptunia did eventually get onto the PC, so it stands to reason that they would also then port it onto the PC after a while. So there is also going to be that. So how can we not be excited about this? I'm sure there's going to be somebody in the comments saying, oh, I can not be excited about this. I can easily not be excited about this. But, Anyway. Quite a lot in that update. Quite a lot in the live stream. And, it was freaking awesome.